Last time on Dice Funk.
Alliances were made, a tournament was won. It was a pretty resounding success, so I imagine spirits in the underwater side of the gig are very high.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Unfortunately, it is the exact opposite above, where the last thing that residents of the gig discovered was the death of one of the most important people in the community, Hylia, the Tree Pope, who literally exploded. And in addition, there is now a tremendous sense of unease as rumors have spread throughout the gig that someone from below has stolen pieces of some of the corpse parts that are being kept for vibe checks. So there's currently a tremendous kind of unease going on right now.
I wonder who that could be.
Bella's gonna have a great day. She's not been suspected of anything, and she's gonna go see her friend, the religious figure, and talk about her religious epiphanies. It's gonna be a great day for her.
Vibe checkers and the whole patrol is the only people I'm authorized to share intel with. The current situation is that we have several enemies, most notably the Storm Giant White, who will eventually return from the fruitless hunt for the Riddlefish, and we will need to be ready. We have several armies at our beck and call, but we also have the Coral Kingdom to contend with, and the Banana Baron, whose machinations are currently unknown, has something to do with stealing all the land of Zolfo. So currently, the Church of the Banyan is issuing a moratorium on resurrections to avoid crossing paths with the Storm Giant White. In order for him to uphold his promise of mercy, he needs to be left unbothered. So that is a perfect cover, having not revived President Slater. Meanwhile, Vibe Checkers, you are going to continue business as usual, without alerting Captain Commander Commodore Cassidy.
I have 3 examples for you, and he is going to lay out 2 body parts, essentially. And he's going to point to the first and say, this one was somebody kind of ultimately surrounded entirely by war. Might be a bit intense to vibe check, but I imagine if anyone has an item in there that might be good for fighting a giant of that stature, perhaps it would be in there. There's also this one, which belongs to a corrupt monarch. It was a bit of a kerfluffle down below, I think, recently. I was given a little whisper she probably wouldn't pass a vibe check anyway, but I imagine a royalty has lived a life a bit interesting, and the Coral Kingdom already are enemies, so I guess it doesn't really matter much that way. If they get pissed if we say no again.
And you said there's a third?
Yeah, this one, I guess, a bit more obtuse, but considering the situation, might have to take our chances. The third corpse is you, and he's going to point to Stranger. It's born from the greatest granite boulder, nursed on the sweetest honey, and crowned amid a raging blizzard. All of those sound like things about you, except for the blizzard.
We're gonna gloss over Quinn's pronunciation of granite real quick. This does remind me. Recently, I've become very honey-pilled. I'm always wanting a smackerel, putting it in my tea. I'm Pooh Bear maxing. I'm about 10 minutes away from going on a whimsical journey in 100-acre woods, and then getting mauled by a real bear.
Now, you can't say Pooh Bearing, because that implies that you're not wearing pants at all anymore.
Well, that could also be true while I'm out in the woods eating my honey, getting stung to death by many bees.
Well, why are you doing that? The honey is their food. You have to make your own honey, Dan.
I have a theory that if you eat bees after they've just made their honey, it's like a crunchy gusher. And I've espoused this theory many times, and it's not getting the traction I believe it deserves in the culinary community.
So last time, players, you all were being approached by Speaker Mox, who was offering you a series of body parts to try to go through to get items. There are 3 body parts that are available. 2 of them are regular body parts that you know who they belong to a certain extent. I could ask a little bit more information. But the last one that was thrown out there was simply Stranger's body. You could put Stranger's body into the tree and vibe check the corpse that Stranger has grown out of.
Stranger looks rather taken aback and a little bit appalled at this idea. And he sneers for a minute before he composes himself and smooths out his cloak a bit and says, "I'm willing to entertain this idea. However, as everyone else here seems to have been making conditions on the side for their own resurrections and vibe checks, if we do this, I need a guarantee that we do not bring the person back."
That'd be a decision amongst all y'all. It's fine with us. The only thing we're particularly interested in at this point is seeing if any of these body parts yield us items that might be useful for fighting the giant when he returns.
I think Lilian will say, if we decide to go with that option, of course we can make a condition about that. But I am personally curious about this person who fought in a war. Which war? Could you give me a little more information about that?
Well, unfortunately, the individual who brought this body part to us passed shortly after he arrived, but it sounds as though they are described as a veteran of many wars. I can't truthfully attest to that, but I mean, that's the information we have, and if it's true, that could be a powerful soul, person, vibe, whatever you want to call it, to yield us an item at the end of all this.
Are they a veteran of the psychic wars?
I love that song.
Your guess will be as good as mine.
In a million years, a gun to my head, bet my entire life savings, I never would have thought Sarah would be the one who was a Blue Oyster Cult fan. Killings is taken aback.
Killings, speechless.
God, I forgot Killings was here and not Hylia.
No, Hylia is Turbo. It's called.
This is an important thing to establish because our audience may not listen to every episode. So
what are you doing,
Austin?
Audience? Killings fires Eldritch Blast at the audience.
Wow!
Oh no!
This is that whole thought process of every episode could be someone's first, maybe someone's listening to Ceased is like, I hate the water. I don't want to listen to anything with water in it. So as such, I'm only listening to the episodes I know are just Dry Team, and as such, I may have missed last episode where you explained it. You were playing as Killings.
25, I Eldritch Blast the audience member up in the air, and now I'm going to start juggling them. I'm going to combo.
You got to roll damage first. You might kill them instantly. The audience is very weak, I've heard.
Well, most games have sort of like a rule where it has to be a combo finisher to actually kill the enemy. It's similar to Kingdom Hearts rules.
We were talking before the recording about our in real life stats. That's why we know Dan is honey maxing and bear pilled or whatever. And I'm kind of like a command grab character, you know, like I'm Zangief, where I'm kind of slow. But if I get my hands on you, whoa, boy, your health bar is so fucking ruined.
Yeah, you can combo Austin a couple times, but if he gets you once with the throw, like half your health bar is gone. You're just like, this is unfair.
It really doesn't seem balanced.
My super move is a 9mm Beretta.
Okay, that's fair.
Because
because you have negative in skin.
I think even in real life, I'm not very combat oriented. I think I'm like a support class. I think I draw you a picture to give you 2+ buff stats.
I love the idea of a fighting game where your opponent just buffs you the whole time as you whoop them.
So Killings has a very analytical approach to all this. She has a clipboard out. She's taking notes. She says, yes, the war veteran sounds like a good source of magic items. Bringing back the Coral Queen could yield useful intelligence if the Coral Kingdom were to attack. We could find out about their troops or their weapon capabilities maybe by looking through the memories. Stranger, I'm afraid, according to the notes left behind by Pope or... I'm trying to think what other things we could say. Her Eminence, Hylia. I don't think I can accept any conditions on a vibe check. That does seem against the spirit of the process.
So far as I'm aware, Reaper has already cut a deal to completely bypass the queue. We vibe checked the Etten without any intention of actually bringing them back, solely to gain information on White. It would be rather hypocritical to suddenly cut the line here.
Well, it is worth reminding y'all, we can't bring anybody back right now, not while that storm giant is running amok down in the ocean. All of these individuals, you can decide whether or not you want to bring them back, but they're still going to have to wait their turn in the queue to actually be revived.
I feel like, personally, like, strangers, like, the most uncertain. Like, we could, like, check a rib cage and find out that, like, the person leaves behind, like, something very, like, esoteric or weak or unusable for the purposes of fighting. I think that someone who was in multiple wars might be our best bet at something most suited for a fight.
That does seem to be the logical answer, Killing says. Just, writing down everyone's pros and cons on each, trying to remain unemotional.
So, interesting you mentioned pros and cons. I want to make sure that you, the players, are going into this with all the information you kind of need. So I want you to kind of understand a bit of sort of some checks and balances in this. There are 3 decisions being placed in front of you. There are 3 vibe checks. You will only have time to do one this arc and then hopefully one more next arc. So one of these won't be picked. Mm-hmm. Of the 3 of them, you have a strong belief that the general and the queen will yield you items. You do not know if Stranger's corpse will yield you any items. It's a complete wild card. The general's corpse will be extremely dangerous. It's someone who was apparently a veteran of many wars, so you do get the feeling that it'll be full of a lot of fighting. So that is something to keep in mind. The queen's body will probably yield the strongest item, as she is somebody with a ton of prestige who has a ton of influence, that there does seem to be kind of a vibe that there is something strong waiting there. However, you do know that making a decision on the queen could alter Allison in Wet Team's allegiance. So that is something to keep in mind. And then, as said, the stranger body, you do not know what is going to be on the other side of that. However, this is potentially the only opportunity for you as characters and as players to know who Stranger was before he became a Harvestkin.
I think personally Lilian's, like, maybe on like an intellectual level, maybe like curious about like who Stranger's like corpse was, but like on an emotional level, like doesn't really think that super important because Stranger is here and he's made it very clear the corpse is not.
Stranger will point out, well, we vibe checked Pofo, and that begot me a cloak that can instantly wipe a person out. Well, let me rephrase this. We vibe checked Pofo, and that in turn provided a magical item based on who he was as a Bodak. So not necessarily what whoever this corpse I grew out of could affect the resulting magical item. Who I am is potentially resulting in it. And I do not think that it is a good idea to check the queen, because Allison will be asking us for our results after we have taken the body part and done the check. And if she does not like our answer, we are now fighting a war on two fronts.
We are already fighting a war on two fronts. Storm Giant White in the Coral Kingdom. This will be a third, which is Allison and the Queen Guard.
Do we know about the Coral Kingdom yet? I thought it was just kind of assumed that that was going to happen.
It is known that Zolfo is being attacked by the Coral Kingdom, or is enemies to the Coral Kingdom, which probably then connects to the top side of the gig as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. So then the way Stranger will say this is, if we make an enemy of Allison, that's both factions within the Coral Kingdom coming for our heads.
I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't like a three-prong war. I much prefer keeping it to as to two. Like one would be preferable, none would be perfect. But like if I have to choose, if
you had to choose. Is
this just gonna be me and Sarah talking about music we like, and you two losers sitting there?
I don't know what you're referencing.
Hamilton.
Good.
Oh my god, that's why.
Yeah.
Lol. I had a feeling.
If Dan has been honey pilled, I don't know what the alternative is. I'm anti Lin-Manuel Miranda pilled.
But yeah, Lilian's opinion is we should check out the general first, because the queen comes with too many outside variables that could get us in more boiling water. And then, stranger, I want to respect your wishes to not bring this person back. But it sounds like there's maybe some contention about that we'd have to figure out.
Yeah, there's actually two interesting levels to this, because I think in character we're all curious about the stranger flashback stuff, but I don't think any of our characters are going to open that can of worms, so it's like a double move there, which is fun. But yeah, I think Killings agrees with Lilian.
A stranger would say, although the thought does occur to me, if I was vibe checked, that would probably remove the chance of anyone ever using whatever remnants of my former progenitor's corpse might still be out there. Though I do see the point that the general is probably the most directly useful. Do we know anything more about this person to name? I'm angling for a history check here, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a history check.
I'm gonna fail that.
8.
You're choosing to fail it. Okay. So with an 8, a 13, and a intentional failure, that is a fail from the party. The Speaker Mox is just gonna say, only thing I know is she went by General Reso. Reso. That's right. I'm spelling it to you in character.
General Reso.
Do we know what kind of person they were? I know
A veteran of many wars. You should have done better on your history check.
we don't know the species of this person.
I mean,
Lilian?
At this point, I don't know if we're doing democracy, but it seems like Lilian and I agree. But
Yeah, of course, my interest is the stranger arc, but yeah, it's very hard to justify in character, so.
Maybe we can figure something out by next arc.
Stranger's gonna die this arc, I don't know, the general's gonna have him executed and shot by a firing squad or something.
there was also 0 combat encounters last dry arc, so if we're just gonna fight dudes for 3 episodes, that'll really mix it up.
I like to think the intentional failure on this part is just Lillian's just laser focused on the idea of well, if this is a fighter, then we can get something that's good for fighting, and then we can be stronger, and maybe we can do some real damage to that giant guy. Just really trying to improve on the fact that they want to be better at the fighting part, because they don't want people to die or for themselves to die during this upcoming giant fight.
Also, not to put too fine a point on it, but we are killing time by vibe checking, essentially to maintain kayfabe in front of Commander Captain Cassidy, who is our actual meat space, real immediate problem. And getting a military crash course against this commander seems like the most relevant skill set.
It's gonna be real fucked when we find out that this general's like main thing was just logistics, and they're just really good at setting up supply lines.
This person worked in an office.
Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Don't let all your soldiers starve. Rule number 1. Thanks, bud.
You need to know that. What if you forgot?
No, it's apparently at one point it was really important. Someone wrote that down, but
So, as you guys are talking, Dumas is going to enter in from outside and see you all and be like, "Oh, hey, everybody. Are you guys doing a vibe check?"
Well, we were planning on one.
Oh, you guys might need to wait. Someone else is, using the tree.
Who?
You're gonna be mad when I tell you, I think.
Just don't shoot the messenger. Just tell us who's there.
We'd be shooting the messenger, Lilian.
Don't do that, please.
No, that's what I meant. I misspoke. We're not gonna shoot the messenger for telling us something. We just need to know, Dumas.
So, all of Commander Cassidy's soldiers are outside of the tree, and I think Commander Cassidy is inside.
motherfucker, this Minotaur's gonna touch my tree.
Okay, thank you for letting us know, Dumas. None of us are mad at you. Just want to make that clear. We're gonna go check that out.
Is Needles okay? Wasn't she standing guard in her new little outfit?
Well, I think the Praetorian Guard only really apply during a vibe check. Do you want 24/7 guards? Because that's a little bit more demanding of people's time.
That's going to be a problem for the future.
At some point, yes, we are going to have permanent guards on our sacred tree. What do you mean? There's permanent guards at GameStop.
But yeah, that makes sense that Needles wasn't
Are
there.
there, Austin? If I go to GameStop at 2 a.m, is a guard gonna stop me?
There's like a strip mall guard who like goes in circles around the place.
Sure.
Not with the rate that strip malls are dying.
Okay.
He's not fast.
We must
He's not
go to
fast
the
enough
tree.
to stop me.
And try and see what the fuck Commander Cassidy's doing.
This fucking guy.
Well, I'll hold on to all these body parts until afterwards, and y'all can make your decision. In the meanwhile, if we can access the tree, I suppose y'all might want to do something to help the vibes here. Everybody is kind of off, I think you've seen.
Things are not feeling very Gucci here today on the island.
We need some sort of morale officer, like maybe a clown or something. I think that would really brighten the place up.
It's been done already, I've heard.
Okay. Are we gonna go see what the fuck's up with the soldiers at our tree? I feel like you're trying to prime us for like downtime talkie seeds, but like I want to get a new leather handbag. What does this fucking Minotaur think he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can absolutely go and visit the tree.
Yeah, I think it would be big like fucking wimp shit if somebody rocked up to your business and basically went, no, this is mine now. You're not allowed it here. This is my GameStop now.
He literally arrived at the fleet and kind of started big dicking. So I mean that is the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Just it definitely feels like I would like to at least have a nice civil conversation, hopefully with Mr. Cassidy before we do our downtime talkie talks. Because leaving that unattended to feels like a bad idea.
Stranger will ask the party, should I get my brother? Because he will happily turn violent at a moment's notice, and there are going to be a lot of men there.
So, I do want to just note, while it's on my mind, that there are going to be potentially some dangerous positions in this upcoming war with White. In particular, as we organize our counter strategy, it does seem very likely that some folk will have to occupy the giant while those are set up if he shows up before we're ready. And I just want to note that I'm volunteering for that position.
I've never seen you draw a weapon, Speaker Mox. Are you some sort of secret wizard? Perhaps a kung fu master? Do you know the shadow martial arts?
I'm a druid. What do you mean?
I've never seen you druid. I am AJ Killings.
You showed up late.
Yeah, we're gonna go on the same page. I've never seen you in any Drews.
To be fair, I also don't think I've ever seen him druid. However, just based off of sort of
You saw me grow a plant. I was there.
that was like 6 months ago in the real world.
I had totally forgotten that he was a druid.
But just based off of, the context clues, it's been taking 3 of us to get through these, and he was doing it alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just giving you listen, brag on yourself. Are you badass?
Are you goated with the sauce?
I would like to hope. I just note this might very likely be the situation I won't return from, and I wanted y'all to know that I'm okay with that. Being alone in that front means I will have all the aggression pointed at me, and I'll do my best to hold the line as long as I can.
Are there multiple slots for this position? Because if we could throw Harvest at this particular front as well, everyone's talking him up big style. So if we could share that damage.
Theoretically, if you could find some folk who are good at defending and being in a tight situation and knowing how to respond to it, then they might be appropriate. Even Commander Cassidy, if y'all can figure out your problems, might not be a bad fit as well. And certainly the more of us there are, the better our chances of surviving will be.
Miss Killings makes a face. I think last episode I rolled insight and botched or something. Even if it's completely irrational, even if we can turn Cassidy and he'll be very helpful, she's gonna be a petty little asshole about it.
And that's a great role.
Because they both worked for President Slater, and she sees him as a rival, and like he's been characterized as being like an honorable family man. And she's just like a pragmatic careerist, and so she just doesn't like him.
Just Mox, I wish you the best of luck if things have to come to that.
What are the other slots in this Mass Effect 2 suicide mission?
I'm literally thinking of it as a Mass Effect 2 suicide thing where there's different values for your characters in this facility in the gig, and depending on what y'all do will alter their chances of survival. So yes, this is quite literally a Mass Effect 2 situation.
Do we have to pick a biotic specialist? I don't think we unlocked Samara yet.
Oh, that's a big problem. You also didn't get the plating for your ship, which is going to cost you one of your crew members before you even get there.
Hey, I had Hyaleo as one of her last acts before death roll to fix the gig up, so I think it's been reinforced a little bit.
Okay, that's good. Did you get the engine boosters?
Oh no, damn it!
All right, sorry, Parks.
Did we buy the day 1 DLC that unlocks a plot critical party member?
This is the second season in a row we've talked about this. I will say we should probably get moving to the tree, but looking at this list of characters, Needles is in the Praetorian Guard, and Buck is a deadly mushroom guy. I think those are probably worth at least checking on as far as allies go, in addition to Harvest and Mox, who are cool. Quinn's moving the icons around. That's fun.
Whoa.
I would say that I don't think Buck would be necessarily good in defense, because everyone around them will die.
Well, we could work something out. We also got to talk to him about potentially poisoning White before it kicks off, because that was like a key thing in that vibe check. But just looking at the list of characters, we can talk to Roman, but he's not had any combat aptitude obvious at this point, and Dumas as well, just kind of an actor. I can talk to Parks the robot. Who knows? He might have a hidden minigun arm for all we know.
We should, if we want to go talk to Cassidy, we probably should get going to that.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys are going to head over towards the banyan tree, and as you approach, you see, as Dumas said, the 24 or so, like black-clad soldiers of Captain Cassidy are standing guard outside of the tree.
I'm just gonna casually walk right up to them, like, I don't think this is weird, and just be like, Cassidy is here too, right? Or is it just the guards?
Well, that's classified.
Well, is it classified to ask, at least in general, what you guys are doing out here?
Guarding right now.
Guarding the tree?
Move along.
I mean, this is our area of command, I suppose, so we should probably at least get to go inside and check what you're guarding.
You own the tree? This is your tree? You own it?
We don't own the tree, but we've been entrusted to protect it.
Sounds like anybody can go inside and use the tree then.
We have been authorized by the people of this land to handle and conduct all vibe checks.
Oh,
as far as I'm aware, you are not.
The natives of this land?
The people that have colonized and occupied this place.
So no natives. You guys came here and decided we're going to use the tree. So...
Yes, it's something called eminent domain.
No. So then seizing it by force could theoretically be the same thing.
I know you just said we could recruit Cassidy, but I'm like, 3 on 24. We can win this.
Yeah, so I will note, no diplomacy or anything like that has been rolled so far. So if you want to change the disposition of these guys, that can play into it. But they are also assholes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think Killings will introduce herself because she is like speaking for Hylia at this point. She'll be like, Camerlingo Killings, I speak for the leader of this island, Hylia the Treant. You may have met her. Your commander, Cassidy, is a big fan of her work, actually. I don't think you should be speaking to us that way unless you want to be declared a hostile invading force and ruin relations between our two biomes.
That is ultimately not our goal. However, we do have our assignment, and right now, no one is to enter the tree.
I think I'm going to do a deception thing here and say, I actually have worked with Cassidy closely at Slater Mechanics for many years, and we have an understanding. So if you could disperse so I could speak to him in private.
Sure, if you would like to roll a deception.
This is, I think, my best skill. She loves robbery and
Lie.
fraud. All she does is eat hot chip and lie.
Now, I'll say this. I've been an administrative assistant before in my life. Those are 2 of the most important skills you can have.
16.
16 is good. I will say that the individual you're talking to will look to you and kind of look to some of their fellow soldiers and sort of whisper amongst themselves. But they'll say, we understand that you do have a connection to the commander. However, unfortunately, we still can't let you in. Besides, I don't believe you would be able to talk to him right now.
Okay, you have absolutely no idea how the tree works.
Well, I mean, he's in the middle of a vibe check.
I think you might be we're about to vibe check you in a second.
Just let's calm things down, everybody. If he's trying to do a vibe check, like we already did one with Slater, so I don't even know if he would be able to do one as it is. How long has he been in there?
I would say 20 minutes or so.
20 minutes. And you haven't heard a thing from him since he went in?
No, he has been covered with the vines of this tree, and that is all we know.
Tell me, are you prepared to lead in his absence? Because it's a very dangerous process. We normally do this as a trio, and he is but one man.
Yes, so I wouldn't underestimate the captain. If you can avoid it in the future, he is an incredible individual.
Who is Cassidy vibe checking?
That is classified.
No, it's not. Intimidation. No, it's not.
You can absolutely do that. You can roll intimidation to try to...
18. She cannot be fucked with in conversations. I love that this is rolled over to my playing her, because I was worried that I would start fucking up all the things she was good at when she was an NPC, but complete and total no sell. Eye contact boring through your skull.
Yeah, so with an 18, Miss Killings does succeed. And I will say that the soldier basically says, it's the president. At this point, we had come to the understanding that the president was never going to be revived, and the captain has taken it upon himself to attempt this vibe check for himself to see and restore the process that way.
Okay, that's not possible. We've already determined you can't double vibe check someone. Second of all, the only reason we're not reviving anyone right now is because there's a storm giant who will attack the riddle snake if we summon it. So this is bullshit. You've lost your privileges. Get back on your fucking boat.
Be that as it may, perhaps we have different understandings of how this tree operates, but until the commander comes out, our 2D is to guard him.
So I have a question out of character.
Absolutely.
This would probably be like a stupid idea. I'm not going to attempt it, but what would happen if you tried to pull someone out of those vines, in the middle of a vibe check?
Interesting question. I don't know if we can say the answer without exploring it in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And we also have to get through 20 guys before that happens. 20 mooks.
Lilian is going to turn to fair party members and say, it sounds like even though this is maybe the third, fourth time that the vibe check queue has been violated in some way, we probably can't stop what's already been started. We should probably just check back in with Cassidy after he gets out of there and have somebody keep an eye on him.
Mm-hmm. Stranger will, I guess, say this then. Look, I know for a fact you can't vibe check someone twice, because when we were vibe checking a different person, your president's body part was introduced, and then I attempted to rerun the same vibe check, and it did not work. So I know that's not your president in there. 2, there is a second step to this process, that after we verify the person going through is applicable to being brought back, it then gets brought back by a different team. And I doubt they're going to accept that someone completely outside of it has done this check. So your only real option currently is to let us in to see what is happening. Unless you are suddenly going to walk across the bottom of the ocean.
I mean, Ralph is pretty good at holding his breath, so, it's an option.
I don't think it's an option. I think you should listen to Stranger's reason here, and just we're not here to cause any further trouble. We just want to go inside and figure out what's happening with the tree that we were told to protect.
I'm willing to roll diplomacy on that, by the way, even though I'm garbage at it. But
yeah,
sure,
me too.
yeah, I would say roll diplomacy.
What is
Do you
diplomacy?
mean
Or
persuasion?
persuasion, whatever. They're so similar. Don't take this from me.
All right, -1. Let's see how this goes. I got a 0.
No.
That's a botch.
You
No!
fucking dirtbag.
Miss Killings, would you like to help?
Miss Killian's dead.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw the
Miss Killian's
20.
got a
I just
20. So the rolls are a 20, a 15, and then Stranger botches with a 0. So I will say this: that is a success. I'm trying to think. This is gonna be one of those Yorsky classics. I'm gonna take that botch and I'm gonna put it in my pocket for later. I don't really know how that's going to apply here. But the soldiers are going to say, well, it seems like you guys know a lot, and we have been told to make it a priority to not escalate violence with the citizens here. So you can come along,
All right, thank you.
and you are going to be led into the banyan tree, where you can see Cassidy is inside, covered in the vines, which you presume, or the roots rather, which you presume is kind of the situation that happens to you all. It's what it looks like when you guys are vibe checking. You're just like covered in these roots, barely, physically visible or anything like that. And he is, silent. There's no it's like he's like thrashing or anything like that. It just seems like he's still almost like meditating.
Two things. One is with my 16, 18, and 20 on deception, intimidation, and persuasion, the 3 charisma checks. This is just like Killing saying, you actually aren't authorized to do dick, so I'm just walking in. She's not even giving him the satisfaction of allowing her.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how she's...
You can big dog this guy, absolutely.
Yeah, she just is like, I actually don't recognize your authority. Second of all, we have seen the vibe checks from the inside, obviously, but we haven't seen someone else vibe checking. Can I say, are you all aware of the sculpture called The Resurrection by Pericles Fazzini? It's in the Vatican. I highly recommend you look it up because it really looks exactly like how I'm picturing this. This is supposed to be Jesus coming out of a nuclear crater. It is the most JRPG coded thing I've ever seen.
That's a final boss fight right there.
Yeah, I don't know which Persona game they modeled this sculpture after, but it was good work.
If you imagine Commander Cassidy as the Jesus figure and all the things all around him, like branches holding his body aloft, that's how I'm picturing it 100%.
I didn't realize Jesus had the power of nuking things when he revives. That's interesting. I feel like that was a detail they should have kept in the Bible.
It was a DLC patch later on. They thought that the class was kind of underpowered, so they wanted to give it a little bit of spice upon reentry.
I like the implied vision that this is that, like, we have also been held up aloft Jesus style during all of our vibe checks.
I'm being held up Jesus style while we record. I rolled a 16 here for investigation to look at the scene. Is there anything I can glean from observing the tree and Cassidy?
Yeah, is this a group check or just you? Or are you kind of pushing your way through and you're like, Miss Killings is going to handle this. None of the rest of you can.
She doesn't ask her party members. She takes initiative to do this.
So yeah, with the check, Miss Killings, you were able to see. I mean, this is kind of what this room looks like when you all are vibe checking. As you have kind of noted, there are these roots kind of lifting you up into the air as though you are a deitic figure. And there are like small little like motes of light that are kind of there to illuminate this room to give like some sense of what's going on. But then there is the pedestal that you put the body parts on, and there is a bone currently on the altar.
I have a question about Cassidy specifically. You said he's silent. Is he like also like completely like stone faced, like not making any expression at all? Could you like tell that he's like in like is he like showing any signs of like mentally going through something, if that makes sense?
That is give me an insight check. Actually.
Insight check.
I'll roll for that.
19.
20.
It's Miss Killings participating, or she's just like, nope, he's a dick. Nope. Okay. With a 19 to 20, I will say that you guys do not see any expression necessarily move on the face, but you see like a little bit, like in the way that sometimes if you're staring at somebody while they're sleeping, you can tell kind of the dream state that they're in. Like if there is a dream with a lot of anxiety or a lot of excitement or something like that, there's like the small hints of like almost like like muscle memory that is going on. But this is nothing that's like you're not immediately reading an expression, even despite the fact that Cassidy himself does seem to be kind of a stoic individual, if that makes sense.
Stranger's gonna look at the body part on the altar. I feel like just thematically, I'm expecting it to be a skull, but what actually is it?
Yeah, give me a medicine check.
Okie dokie. 23.
This is an ulna bone. Ulna.
Ulna. I think I know a body part. That's an arm bone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we have no way to know if that's do elf ulna bones look different from other ulna bones? Do we have a way to verify?
I
this is
wish
slated?
because the roll's extremely good. I wish I could, but it does seem like a crazy thing if you were like, this is the same bone from that bone set or something like that. I mean, I guess there are ways to do that.
I would say with the 23, if he died from a disease, it could have the same discoloration or markings as the bone you've already seen.
That is true. Medication will change the color of your skeleton. There's some people that have actually bright green skeletons.
I hope mine is like glittering. That'd be so cool. And then I hope I die in a closet so that someday when someone opens that closet, my glittering skeleton will come out and fall on top of them.
Well, I think the first thing will be, what smells in there? Why does this closet smell so bad? Oh no.
Well, you don't think my corpse is going to smell good, Dan?
Well,
Fuck
I think for a period of time it's probably going to smell quite bad, and then it won't smell like anything anymore.
You think I'm not going to rot in a fucking flourishing kind of vibe? You dick.
I think that's kind of the moving on. Can't say the word.
Okay. So, I will say that there is not a discoloration to this bone, but there was also not a discoloration to the femur bone from President Slater that you used previously either.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing right now that you have seen has given you indication to say that this isn't a body part of President Slater's.
Right. Okay. Stranger will turn the party and go, what do we want to do here? He's clearly in the middle of this. We could attempt to join him. He seems mildly distressed, in my opinion. He might be seeing the things that Slater put people through. And for such an honorable man, that might not be something that's sitting well with him.
Mm-hmm. I keep going back to trying to get him to stop preemptively, but I do worry that would, like, make his brain explode or something. I'm not sure what would happen.
Killings perks up at this. Brain explosion, you say.
Killings, we don't want to freak his bean.
Speak for yourself. I would completely freak his bean. I mean...
We understand this. Can I, like, try to knock him on the noggin and see if he just kind of jolts awake?
I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea.
No.
As well, I'm a bit concerned about what would happen if we accidentally killed him and then had to fight all of his team members in an enclosed space. We might be capable, but if I got stabbed by 20 different people, I'd be in a bit of a difficult state.
That is true. Why did he have to do this? Maybe we could, like, have someone here when he's done and check in on him, and if he's like I'm going to take the bone down underwater, then we can try to, like, maybe engage with him then. I don't know. He seemed like a very polite Minotaur man, but this is, like, nobody respects the queue or the hundreds of other people that are trying to get in here and bring back people they care about. It's just mind-blowing me, like, right now that like so many people are just, like, skipping the line or going to the tree without us. it's just I thought that everyone would just, I don't know, like come together as a community and understand that maybe you have to wait a little bit, but I guess not.
You didn't leave your hometown very much, did you?
No, I did not. Coming here with Needles' body part was actually the first time I'd ever left my hometown.
Well, we can't allow Captain Cassidy to get an information advantage. So, if possible, we should go in there and see what he's seeing. If for and no other reason than to be able to refute any conclusions he comes to about President Slater.
Yeah, so the way I see it, there are two options. We either go attempt to improve the morale of our local populace, or we attempt to enter the vibe check. I think it would probably be pertinent to do the latter.
Like, I personally want to improve the morale of the people on the island. Like, that's what I was prepared for, like, before we started recording. Commander Cassidy has really thrown a wrench in my gears.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just see if it even works. It might not work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to ask Miss Killings how she feels about Lilian basically talking about people breaking the rules of the queue when Miss Killings is one of those people who has done that.
Yeah, she doesn't care. She doesn't take it personally.
Okay.
That's like you ever when they try to point out the hypocrisy of some vile person. They're like, "Oh, you say this, but you said you believe this," and they're like, "No, I didn't." Fuck you.
Okay. Good to know. Just a good thing to establish.
I was literally thinking about this earlier, that if someone was like trying to bust some political figure about something they had said previously, oh, it's about free speech on campus or whatever, and they're like, oh, here's all the examples of them, previously saying there's never any reason whatever to crack down on free speech, and now they're like, all these protesters must be killed, the National Guard must riddle them with gunfire, and it's like, what are you gonna tell this person that they contradict themselves? They don't care.
I believe in the same scenario that you're talking about, there was also like, guys, there are sniper rifles on the building. And then they released a press release going, no, there aren't any sniper rifles. It's just law enforcement with long-range firearms that are rifles.
Yeah, Killings is like, previously my employer wanted me to do something, so I did it, and now I have a new employer who wants me to do something else. These two people are not related. It has nothing to do with each other. So... yeah.
All right. Very interesting. So the party wants to try to see if they can like hijack themselves into the vibe check.
Yeah. See if the tree will take us into this feature already in progress.
All right. Collectively, give me a religion check.
Oh, my religion character is dead.
Not the best,
sorry.
but it's still
21.
positive.
This is my mean character.
Okay. Whatever. Botch. Fuck you.
19!
21, a 19, and a botch. Okay. So, I will say this. With a 19 and a 21, you think, insert yourself into this vibe check. But with the botch, I will say that you also know that doing so will fuck with the vibe check in some way. So I want that information to be on the table, that no one has ever inserted themselves into a vibe check after it has already started. A vibe check has been like placed on top of another item, which fucked with it to a certain extent, but no one has forced their way in. If you choose to force your way in, you can. It's just, you don't know what'll necessarily happen, but it won't be good. You are choosing to basically invalidate everything at that point.
So it would basically be like the drug test wouldn't work. It just wouldn't be. It would throw false positives. There's no way to know what's true or what's not true.
I can't say specifically what would happen, but I will say that you have gotten an idea. You can feel the presence of the tree within you. You've all kind of touched it to a certain extent. Highly used to be able to specifically kind of like hear the tree, but you're all getting this vibe that like the tree will let you in, but it's going to mess things up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna drop into cutscenes and make them non-canon.
Yeah, you're gonna be like a Fallout cutscene where a vertebrate just starts heading towards you, and you're like, no.
Yeah, Killings doesn't care. She doesn't want Cassidy to get a real vibe check anyway. So this is not. It's no skin off her ass at all.
Stranger is gonna vote against this method. Then he'll say, this tree has already had a number of things happen incorrectly surrounding its abilities lately. I don't know that this is the right course of action, or if it's going to potentially cause issues later on, or for that matter, if it'll just potentially get us all killed in the process.
Just I think I agree with Stranger. I like every way you cut it. Just if we try taking him out, if we try going in, it sounds like something bad's gonna happen either way.
All right, so the party seems to be 2 against 1 on not inserting themselves into this vibe check, knowing something could potentially go wrong as a result.
Yeah, and Stranger will say, I think we need to get back to the gig and get our ducks in a row here.
Sounds like a plan to me. This whole mess up here with Commander Cassidy, we will figure something out, but I don't think that anyone will benefit from trying to plunge ourselves in there.
Does Captain Commander Cassidy have any cool items that I can pickpocket while he's indisposed?
I mean, so yes, he does have an item. There is like there's a handle on his like belt that you believe is his weapon.
Okay. Can I take it? Is anybody watching?
The friends that you have with you and the tree, I will say give me sort of like a strength check to see if you can rip it out, like as he's like covered in these vines.
Oh, that's not good. 6. That's not good.
6 is not going to get you there. The other team members can help you with this, though.
Sure, why not? With my -1. 9. Just choose to fail. Just choose to fail.
Just like... Just, I would not help with taking this man's sword out. Like, I can't even choose to fail because I wouldn't choose to engage to begin with.
Yeah, so Miss Killings and then later Stranger are both going to try to grab onto this handle that's currently like partially kind of enclosed in the roots, and you can't pull it free at this point. It is worth noting though that there was not like a blade on the other end of this handle.
Is it
Does this man got a light sword? He got like a light sword thing going on?
Can't tell you.
Okay, mysterious Minotaur.
All right, Cassidy. Giving mysterious, giving Jedi. All right.
Yeah, Stranger's gonna tie his shoelaces together and go, that'll stop him for at least 5 more seconds. Let's get back to the gig.
Just gonna like head out of the banyan tree and like give the soldiers a little like not like a respectful but like a politeful like not a respectful but a polite like bow, like, okay, our business is done here, we will come back when that's all sorted.
Sure. They do not have like I want to like have them salute you, but I feel like they shouldn't because they are just shit terrified of Miss Killings at this point, who has just big dogged them every chance she's gotten.
Fair, valid. She is scary.
Yeah, they sort of make the pathway bigger as you start to come out.
Yeah, and she has a sword that she kind of holds as she walks, leaving a red trail in the air. It's paint, but as far as they know, it could be blood or some kind of evil magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that like after you pass, like one of the soldiers makes sure to quickly look inside to make sure that Cassidy hasn't just like had his head cut off or something like that.
I thought about it.
I was gonna say that's on the table. He is defenseless. If you wanted to kill him, you could.
The other people in my party weren't so soft.
I don't want to get jumped that badly.
Maybe
I
if he
do.
was
What are we doing
alone.
here?
If there weren't like 20 fucking guys who could gank us immediately, maybe it'd be a different story.
I might be able to turn into a giant gorilla, but that's not going to help me if there's 20 guys stabbing my ass. I'll fail that concentration check eventually.
Yeah, so the party can sort of find a way to spend some time. You guys talked about doing little scenes to start preparing. What do you all want to do? Who would like to go first?
Okay, yeah. Lilian has been wanting to go get Pofo to get their assistance in like both like the fact that Faye has to like put together like the glyph of warding spell and like take apart the sword and protect the like body parts, and also because Pofo specifically might be able to help with talking to like the spirits specifically like in those body parts, not vibe checking them, they just want to talk.
Sure, absolutely. So you can find Pofo, who usually is found kind of shuffling around like the main hotel lobby. It doesn't seem like they like to spend much time in his room or anything like that. So he's kind of just there, maybe chatting to people, maybe moseying around, maybe sipping on a little drink, the wine that makes you gay.
Oh, an excellent vintage.
Yes, I like the roots of cranberry, the gayest of fruits.
Oh, absolutely. Pofo, you remember when you first came back, I asked if maybe you'd want to help a little bit with getting the body parts, like, sealed away a little bit safer, a bit more protection, especially after someone stole something?
Yeah, that seems to be kind of a bummer around here. News about that traveled pretty fast. That's a bummer.
I want people to feel better about their family or friends being left in safer hands than that. That's what I want to do.
God damn it, Dan. You just posted the thing in the chat that I wanted to say at the end of this conversation, but didn't want to interrupt.
Well, now you've done it.
Yeah, now it's too important now. Dan and I both Googled, what is the gayest fruit? Because you said it was cranberries, and someone on Quora said, I caught my son eating a bowl of strawberries. That's a gay fruit. Does this mean he is gay? How do I confront him?
Yeah, if anyone eats a strawberry, they're actually gay. That's one of the rules.
Is it still gay if it's in a Dr. Pepper? Because the strawberries and cream Dr. Peppers are fucking incredible.
It's actually twice as gay then.
Okay, well, I'm not ashamed.
Pofo will say,
Yeah, this sounds like a good idea. I think a lot of people would feel a lot more at ease knowing that their loved one's body parts aren't, in the open to potentially, be kind of knocked around and add to the haunted nature of this place, or to make sure no one comes in to take anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people were a little wounded to know that even though there's still enough to vibe check with, just the idea that someone might desecrate the corpse of their loved one kind of hurts them a little bit.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I want to make sure that can't happen again. I'm putting everything I can into protecting that and making the living people feel better and the dead people feel more taken care of, I guess.
Wow, that's really cool of you, Lilian. That's some good shit. I like that you're looking out for everyone here. Really feels like you're kind of, what do you call it? Like the voice of the people or something like that?
I think the most important thing about a community is that we can all keep, like, have each other's backs. Like, the community theater back where my family runs it, like, we all, like, get to know everyone in the community, and we make sure that they're, like, taken care of if they're, like, doing a performance where we're just hosting with our theater, and it's just, it boils my sap because I don't have blood to think that there's people who just think that they can take advantage of community just because we're still figuring things out.
Yeah, you don't want to get your sap boiled. That's a big issue I've heard. Makes it real hard to clean, I think.
It is. Gets all
Well,
gummy.
I think the community does appreciate that, Lilian. You know, not everybody wants to be part of a religion or part of another nation's kind of goals. You seemed really focused on helping the people, and I think, they respect you for it.
Oh.
That just seems to be a bit of the hubbub.
Well, I appreciate you telling me that. Now let's go and get to where we're building up this vault thing. I looked at the glyph of warding out of character. It's got a lot of text.
Yeah, a lot of text to it. Read it all off in a funny voice right now. Perfect. The important thing to note is that this is a security system that will allow you to basically, if someone does intervene in your vault, it'll kind of hopefully stop them, if the very least alert everybody to the fact that someone has invaded the vault. The actual construction is something that Harper will probably help you with, but I guess, how do you want to paint what this vault is going to look like, Lilian?
I think that the vault, as it is in my mind, is like this. Like, I'm trying not to just think like, oh, it's like a big gray square, like a bank vault, because I don't like. I feel like it has to be something more in line with like the plant nature of like the gig and like the island itself. So like maybe like some kind of like, I don't know why my mind is going to pine cone shape, but like some weird like plant structure being built into the gig where you like go in and you pass through the glyphs and like then you get to the body part storage.
Yeah, I mean, the pine cone has like all these little ridges that could be compartments for body parts or whatever. The glyphs don't have to be like the most standard magical floating symbols, right? Hylia specifically gave you fracture to use as the material component for this spell. And so, I mean, it's your scene. You can do whatever you want. It's just if you're looking for any input, it's just like the flaming sword at the edge of the Garden of Eden. You know, it's like the sword can almost like protect the vault or the pine cone autonomously as like bound to it. And it's a sword made of swords, so it can do any number of different things to would-be intruders.
Yeah, I like the swords as like a physical manifestation of like the protection that we're putting in place. And then Dan put a gif of a pine cone like opening up, and I like the idea of like these little compartments for like the body parts that can like frill open and closed as need be. But like when they're closed, like if you try to open it without permission, you get sorted.
Yeah, like there's a normal nondescript locked room. You open it. Inside is a closed pine cone. If you approach it and you're an authorized person, it opens up like pine cones do, and there's all these hundreds of compartments. If you're not authorized, a turbo sword freezes, burns, electrifies, and annihilates you simultaneously.
Yeah, you experience hyper death if you get stabbed by the sword that kills you a million different ways instantly.
Yeah, flaming chains are involved in a way you don't really want to know about. This is very
Or
well
maybe you
established.
do. Have you considered that maybe you do want to know about it?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little bit more curious now that you mentioned flaming chains are involved.
There's one freaky gig person who keeps breaking into the vault.
Oh no! I hope the sword doesn't grab me.
Oh no, the sword is so dangerous.
They just heard chains and ran in without hearing the rest of it.
Yeah, I do like the pine cone thing. I like the organic, and I'm hypnotized by this GIF. Honestly, it's very
It's a cool gift.
powerful. Yeah.
I think this is a great idea. So Harper will help sort of do the construction on this, and then it'll be to your exact specifications. Is this going to reside inside of the gig, outside of the gig, underneath the gig? Where are you imagining this pine cone kind of hanging out?
I feel like in or under the gig feels the most makes sense to me, because outside it would like, even with the protections, like having it outside feels like too like unprotected, I guess.
What does under the gig mean in this context? Because the gig
means underwater.
Yeah, it's a spear thrust through the ground into the ocean. I mean, to me, it makes the most sense to be in the midpoint, which is like inside the island, literally in a way that is like impregnable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have
Like-
to the raid redemption your way to the vault.
Like, it's this cool, like, pine cone, like, mechanism, like in the middle of the land and the sea part.
It's the corpse cone.
Yeah, big old corpse cone. All right, yeah, that is something Harper will get started on. It'll take a little bit of time, but this is under construction with your guidance then, and Pofa will help out with that. But I think you also wanted to deal with some of the haunted ramifications of this hotel.
So I imagine that there's basically like an audience of like boxes and bags and urns and body parts that like Lilian can like present fair self to, like almost like the MC of like a show, but the show is them like bringing Pofo in and saying like, all right, now I want to be able to figure out how to speak with these spirits and maybe assuage them a little bit, let them know that we're making somewhere that they can stay safe while they're waiting, maybe make them a little less angry about the fact that a few people now have knocked things over and stolen things. It was an accident, but one of them was me.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like this is going to be a little challenging. Are you sure? There's a lot of ghosts here, from what I understand. They knock over coffee cups a lot, and wine glasses. So, they're not like monsters, I guess. Some of them are. But this could be dangerous. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I have been preparing myself physically and mentally because I want to raise the spirits of the living and the dead.
All right. How does this sort of seance essentially look for you? You're sitting in front of all these boxes, these urns, these things that have been kind of knocked over and then have like spirits let loose.
So I imagine the way that this goes is that like Lilian and like Pofo will like sit down in like a 2-person ring, like to just kind of like connect, like physically like hold hands or something, and then Lilian will start like I couldn't figure out what I wanted Lilian to be reciting or saying, but Lilian is basically trying to give like a soliloquy about like life and death to just kind of like bring the spirits out to be able to then like speak to them more directly, because they know that most of these people were like living people with thoughts and feelings, and Faye wants to engage with them in that way.
So, let's start this off. Let's do a religion check to see kind of how well you're able to sort of set all this up.
All right, religion check. Don't fuck me. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, a 15 is great. I will say that you do this. You're setting everything in position. You're saying whatever your mantra is, and you do start to see things happening. Things are getting moved around. Objects are sort of rattling, and you can I guess it's not physically sealing it, but that sort of sixth sense feeling of like a presence kind of gathering together in this room. And you see what can best be described as sort of like a screaming amalgam of ghosts start forming in front of you.
Greetings, fair folks who've been brought to this fine place we know as the island, building called the Gig. My name is Lilian Sparridge, and I am here to ask you people about what it is that you need to feel safer while you are waiting for passage into potential re-resurrection.
Who says we want safety? Who says we want to return?
Just that is something that we are trying to figure out on a case-by-case basis.
I hated my grandson. Fuck him. I'm so glad to be a ghost now.
Were you the one with the hidden gold?
We are an amalgam, a collection of all that is here. But yes, that one you kind of were referring to, that was the one you knocked over. That was a good thing you did, Lilian.
But they all hate his grandson. Everyone made him
All
mad.
of us hate him.
He sucks.
They all hate his ass.
He's so stupid. I hate his haircut.
Little Billy ain't ever gonna get no bitches.
All right. I'm here to engage on...
I saw little Billy eating strawberries, and I've never forgiven him.
Little Billy aside. All right, if you don't want safety, I'm here to engage on your level. What do you want? Large amalgam of ghosts and people and such.
Yeah, so I will say that there's sort of like a silence as this sphere of ghost faces that are like kind of pulsating inwards and outwards are kind of like quietly collecting themselves. And one sort of face starts to like pull itself a little bit forward and says, we have reached a determination about 3 factors that'll get the collective ghosts of the gig on your side.
All right, lay him out.
1, we need the promised return of someone from the queue. 1, General Raso.
All right, General Raso has been on our targets. That can probably be arranged soon enough.
Oh, that was easy. Okay.
Wait,
We
are
all-
these ghosts unionized?
It's a big amalgam of ghosts, and they have they have someone speaking for them.
Unionized and pro-war.
They're bargaining collectively. Miss Killings is gonna have to stomp this out.
Oh no. Well then I would also say our second condition is we want someone whose body to possess when we feel we have the collective need to do so. What about yours? Can we possess you when we need to?
Define need to.
I don't know, when the sort of spiritual need arises.
What is need in this scenario?
I don't know, we want to do spooky shit. But like we need a physical body to do it.
Is this like playful trickster spooky shit, or we want to kill someone with a physical vessel spooky shit?
Or are you guys jacking it? Like, you jacking it? What's happening here?
There are a good amount of spirits in here. I will neither confirm nor deny any of our intentions. Simply want to say that we, as a collective ghost union, we want one of a body we can use.
Not to put too fine a point on it, Lilian, aren't you the bard of the College of Spirits?
Yes, like that is the bardic subclass as is written.
Okay, just pointing that out. Sorry, I made the subtext text.
Before I agree on that one, I would like to know what your third demand is.
Oh, that one's probably the easiest, so we thought we'd throw that in at the last one. An agreement that body parts that are not being used to be brought back are left here in the gig so that the necromantic energies here can really skyrocket.
Oh, so you're not going to let us have a Harvestkin army and a Ghost army?
I'm going to note, as the DM, this is in direct contrast to the promise that has been made to Stranger, that body parts that are not being revived are given to him so that they could be used to make more Harvestkin.
So, I have some negotiations to make with you, but first I want to ask my compatriot who's helped me set up this seance, Pofo, what do you think? Like, first of all, do you think a possession of a body would have adverse effects on the person being possessed?
I mean, yes, aren't there, like, specific situations of ghosts possessing people and going out of control? I mean, it'd be fine if there was somebody who was willing to have that happen to them, but otherwise it places you at a bit of a potential impasse with them somewhere down the line. However, I guess if you're looking for their assistance in sort of like a more immediate future, then maybe that's just a can you kick down the road till later.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I don't know, what about, like, a fake body? Could they possess that?
You
like
mean
a
like
mannequin or something?
a mannequin? A ghost union? Would a mannequin suffice?
It has to be a cool mannequin at the very least.
Define cool.
You define cool. What do you want us to do?
Gamer LEDs.
Yeah, we want lights that flash on and off and do all those things.
Major impasse I think we have with your third request that you thought would be easy, I apologize, conflicts with another party's interests that has already been agreed upon, if not in writing, then in a verbal contract in some way.
Oh, well, I guess it sucks to be them then, because we want them body parts. Imagine how much more powerful we'd be if there was, like, constant necromantic energy just flowing around in here. Plus, like, anyone who doesn't get revived, their body's here, eventually their ghost gets restless, then they'd start haunting it too. We'd have more friends. This sounds like actually be a pretty cool scenario for everybody involved.
I guess that's an important detail. They also want people that don't get revived to permanently be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if their ghosts is bad, I guess you can exorcise them or whatever, but we want that energy from the body part. That sweet, sweet, delicious psychic energy from the body. Mm-mm. You know, everybody is full of psychic energy. It's like a little treat.
Let's see.
Speak for yourself. Mine is full of tubby custard.
Yeah, I'm full of honey.
That third option is probably like the hardest one because I think, like with the possession of a body, like I guess Lilian would ask, would you perhaps be willing to agree that if you possessed my body, you would not physically harm anyone while doing so? Maybe make it known that it's not me acting in that moment.
Can you, define harm? Are we allowed to, like, trip people?
Harm is, in my definition, something that would leave them with, let's say, maybe like a lasting injury. I don't want anyone to get hurt, though, is the problem.
Well, what about somebody who wants to be hurt? Like that chain freak? Can we hurt her? She's always excited for the chains.
That chain freak would probably be down for it, yeah.
See? So we're allowed to hurt a little bit.
Quinn, the chain freak Larios.
This is the scene in Jujutsu Kaisen where Yuji has to bargain with Sakura. I know how this ends. Be careful.
I have not read or watched Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, Sakura's a nice guy. Don't worry about it.
And yet you know who Blue Oyster Cult is. Curious. I will say that an option that is also perhaps something I want to state is on the table. You can also just simply negotiate all of these points into maybe saying, like, I could agree to 2 of them, but not all 3 of them or something like that. And you'll just have to give a good persuasion check to kind of convince them. Like, this is a negotiation to a certain extent.
In the background, oh boy, are those chains?
They get out of here, chain freak.
Why does Quinn the chain freak sound like Mickey Mouse?
Oh boy, I can't wait for chains!
Oh boy, I can't wait to be chained tonight. Oh, they're hot today. What a treat.
Why did we both...
I must have been a good girl.
I was literally about to say, oh, they're spicy today. We went to the same well. Why?
Or we're simpatico, that's why.
It's like my impasse here is that I am kind of into the idea of Lilian having to be possessed by ghosts to get their help. I'm just at like the impasse is like, would Lilian agree to that part of the deal?
As a listener of events that are happening, my curiosity is about Pofo, who we've only ever seen on screen like one time, and suddenly they're doing seances and shit.
Mm-hmm.
What is their affinity? Are they like a powerful sorcerer? Do they care? They seem like really cool with death. That's like their whole thing. Do they want to be full of ghosts? I guess I just don't have a read on real live Pofo at this point. Who's Fearblug, right? Yes?
Fearblug.
Fearblug.
Yep.
Fearblug.
Yeah, so that's an option. You could talk to Pofo and be like, "Hey, bud, do you want it? Do you want to be full of ghosts?"
Pofo, what is your opinion vis-a-vis ghost possession? Would you want to? Do you know someone who'd want to?
I mean, I like death in all forms is cool. So, being close to people who have passed on is nice. I mean, I would maybe, want to do it as maybe like a form of like grief therapy as well. I could help those who possess, pass on. Maybe like in exchange, like they can possess me, but then I get to do sort of like a grief counseling with them, help them, maybe feel like they don't need to be around here pulling pranks and being kind of little weirdos and freaks anymore, unless they want to.
Just I think, like, if Pofo is interested in doing grief counseling and maybe helping some ghosts move on, then like the third point we could probably like negotiate against, just because like the ghost psychic energy out of the body parts is nice, but like also like you can like there's probably going to be like people cycling through here for a while, as like the gig like draws more people in anyways, like whether or not they stay in like there permanently or not.
All right, so it sounds like you're going to try to agree to two of the points, but then disagree to the last one, in which case I'm going to need a persuasion check.
All right. So for clarity's sake, I am agreeing with points 1 and 2. We get body possession, and we shoot for bringing back General Reso.
Yeah, 17 is a very, very good score. With that, you are able to successfully negotiate the collective ghost entity down. They're sort of like, well, drat, but, it is cool that we get to possess a body, and, my commander's going to come back at some point, so that's pretty cool. That's a promise now. You can't count back on that.
And then, like, in return, the ghosts, you guys can help us with the upcoming issues that we've been dealing with.
Sure.
Mean,
we want to keep our spooky little home. Can't do that if it's all smashed to smithereens, I guess.
Yeah, if it got all smashed, then like there eventually be nothing left. Like maybe there's some bodies here and there. It's gross to think about, but like they'd probably decompose instead of stick around.
Yeah. And y'all can talk to us sometime if you want. We see a lot of things inside of here. Any little secrets you want to know? Any little juicy little nuggets? Anything like that?
Who stole that liver?
Oh, that was Barbella, the little shark lady. She stole it.
I see. Okay.
That info got passed around real quick, too.
Okay. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'd like to ask before we conclude and shake on things. Fruitful negotiations and everything.
Where's the chain pervert? Right now, tell us, Ghost.
In the chain room, where do you think?
The chain pervert's in 2 places at any given time. One of them's the chain room, the other's a secret.
Yeah.
You could ask them if, Cassidy's been up to anything while he was here.
Oh yeah. I guess before we conclude things, a Commander Captain Cassidy just like barged into our tree and like started trying to revive his boss, and we couldn't really do anything without consequences that we think would not turn out very well. Do you know if he's like talked to his soldiers at all? Has he indicated anything aside from "I want to bring back my boss"?
This here's a Minotaur guy, right? Big old folk.
Yeah.
I mean, we can only really see what happens inside the gig, but we did see him having a conversation with that religious seahorse thing, right? The bishop. He had a conversation with him during the World's Fair. He came out real plumb mad afterwards. He was actually the one who spotted Barbella going into that there vault. I think he's the one who made sure that information kind of spread through.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did it, I don't know, out of a sense of justice. Not to like be like a dickhead, but everyone knows now.
I see. Conversation with... What's his fucking name?
Bishop Bitter Creek. I don't know it. I don't really see that guy, but there is a list I look at sometimes that has names on
it. Did Harper die off screen and become a ghost?
Did someone find Harper's brother's body and put it in the queue?
That's a different character. This one's more of a what's his name? Elmer Pyle or some shit? I don't know.
Elmer Pyle?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a voice here.
This is actually Handy Manny.
No one questioned it, so I just kept rolling.
Well, that's... Some information is better than none. Now, Pofo, are you okay with these terms that we're agreeing to before we wrap things up?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are going to get help from this, and, maybe we can help some people pass on. And, I don't know, I guess some, practical jokes will happen. That'll be kind of funny, right? Everyone needs some levity in their life.
Yeah, we gotta make them laugh. Gotta have some fun. Alright, can I shake a hand? Is there a hand to shake?
No. The ghosts say you should just knock over an urn to show that you've agreed to this.
Okay. Let's just knock over the fucking first urn I see. Smack.
Another angry grandpa has been added to the collection. Huzzah! All right, who's up next?
Okay. Stranger will go to discuss with Buck about poison, and I guess because everyone is so depressed here, maybe we get these people on magic mushrooms and try to cheer them up or something.
Hey, anybody want to get high?
Yeah, you could definitely find Buck. He is going to be inside of his rotting a little more controlled house, as there was efforts by Miss Killings and Boyce to make sure that the rot didn't spread throughout the island. Mm-hmm. But he is still chilling inside. This is his pad. This is his home.
Mm-hmm. Stranger will put on his little gas mask and then put on a smaller gas mask on his crow. And head and I guess knock on the door frame. I don't believe he has a door.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
I was like no.
Yeah, he taps a hand on the wall and it squishes and he goes, all right. And then just walks inside and goes, "Excuse me, Buck, do you have a moment?"
Hey, what's going on there, friend? Of course I have time for you.
I've been wondering if I could enlist your help with some current issues that we are facing.
Oh, you got some rot-related issues I can help with? I'm real good at rotting things.
More specifically, potentially just mushroom-related instances, although the rot could be of use here. Two problems are currently coming to mind. As you know, and probably can tell, the vibes, as you might say, in the gig are currently quite low. I'm aware...
Yeah, Popo said something about that the last time he popped by.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's been a rough few weeks here. I'm aware that some mushrooms can induce a, let's say, out-of-body effect, a mind-altering and life-changing experience in the fleshed folk. Would you happen to have any of those that wouldn't, in turn, also kill the person?
Oh, you want to get everyone high? I mean,
if they are so interested.
I suppose. I've never really partaken in hallucinogenics myself. That's never really felt like my vibe. I get so much dopamine just from watching rot, but I think I could probably put something together. How high do you want them to be? Do you want them to remember who they are the next day?
I think that would behoove us. I'd say one thing I'd note here. Stranger is skilled in alchemist supplies, brewer supplies, herbalism, and poison. Those are all of his proficiencies. So this seems like right up his alley to be helping Buck create the wonder drug.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would come down is just doing a check with it using your tools.
22.
Yeah, you can describe to me the terms of what you're trying to create.
Yeah, so I think...
Did you just spend a 22 on chilling and vibing instead of the poison we needed to kill the final boss?
Well, we'll get to that next. We're trying to fix the mood here.
We're trying to raise people's, like, morale with a little bit of mushroom.
Stranger has two bubbling cauldrons side by side, both slightly different shades of green. And it's going to be important to not mix them up. Yeah,
this is like the fucking joke about mushroom hunting, where it's like, this mushroom is the most delicious thing you've ever eaten, and this mushroom that looks exactly the same is gonna fucking kill you.
I think Stranger's making a wondrous bubbling green potion that, like, when you take it, I've been high once, and I was so high I was physically ill and hated it. But I've never had, like, hallucinogenics. I think maybe to continue the theme of what's happening here and everything with, like, the revival and the cycle of life, etc., you're going to experience what it's like to be born, live an entire life, die, be a ghost, and then come back to life.
Damn, that sounds like a good fucking trip. Austin would love that.
I've done that before.
Yeah, so that's the experience. What are you calling your wonder drug?
Last rites.
Damn, good name. With Buck's help and your proficiency, you are able to concoct the last rites drug that you can pass out, and hopefully it'll sort of lift the spirits of everybody inside of the gig and get people more onto the side of getting ready for this fight.
Mm-hmm. Now, there is one other thing I will require your assistance with. As you know, there is a storm giant roving around the island and the seas beside us. We're likely going to have to kill him. And
that's a big bummer. Why can't he just come here and chill? Is he like a dick?
Yeah, that's the way I would describe it. He's a bit of a dick. Well, not a bit of a dick. He's quite large. He's a big of a dick.
That's a bummer. What a fuck. He could have been so cool. We could have hung out with the giant. We could have sat on his lap and, like, watched things rot, and he could see things rot from really far away. What a douche.
Yeah, he's not a chill bro. It's really upsetting.
Well, if he has to die, he has to die. So, yeah, let's kill the shit out of him.
Yeah, so I think what Stranger wants to do
Have you killed people before, Stranger?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes I worry that, like, other people haven't killed people before, but, like, I've killed a lot more people than Pofo. Some accidentally, some not.
Stranger sort of shrugs and goes, I don't go out of my way to do it if I can avoid it, but my people in my life have put me in a position where people aggress against me, and I defend myself in turn. And I do not suffer fools to live when they make that mistake.
Well, all right then. Good stuff. What do you want this poison to do? Do you want to give him diarrhea that kills him?
I think what I've been like visualizing is how do we like deliver this into him, right? And what Stranger's thinking is like potentially setting up, like bungee sticks in the ground around the island, and just coating it with whatever poison we set up here. And we didn't fully set up on like a game plan, right, to deal with this guy. But one of the things we were talking about was like burning through his legendary resistances and then trying to like hit him with a bunch of statuses, or potentially Stranger using his cloak once he gets down like low enough health to try to off him. So what Stranger wants to do is do something that's going to like rip through his ability to mechanically make saves, either through penalties or disadvantage. If it has to be like one ability, probably like wisdom or con saves then. And he wants to, yeah, I guess the way it'd be like rotting away and withering away his physical form.
Okay, yeah, that's more what I'm talking about. Is I want to know what you specifically want the effect to do to him. So you want this to be something that reduces strength and stuff like that. That reduces his physical capabilities.
Yeah, I'd say the ideal thing then is probably reducing his like strength, like sapping him of his energy, so he can hit us less.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna do another check here.
Okay, same roll.
I don't think you get your intelligence roll this time.
Okay, then this is just a +3.
If this doesn't work, I will say the party drug you made also would probably really fuck him up, because if he's experiencing his entire life and death and rebirth, like he's not going to be watching his back. And I feel like that's also going to work.
I will say the only qualification against that is you would need an enormous amount of that drug.
15.
15 is good. However, Dan, I'm reaching into my pocket.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull out that botch from earlier. So you are
Classic Yorsky maneuver.
Yeah. I'm going to say that this drug will do what you want it, or this poison rather, will do what you want it to do. However, there is a side effect to it you do not know right now. I'm letting you know that now.
It's gonna make him really cool. His fucking sunglasses are gonna sprout out of his face, and he's
Are you gonna Last of Us, me, Quinn? Or is he gonna be a big mushroom zombie where you have to fight immediately afterwards?
That would be really cool. I can't tell you, like, if this was like Skyrim, you've created like a potion, and there's like 2 effects, and then there's like a question mark one at the bottom that you're like, I don't know what this is until it happens, basically.
How much of this do I have?
You have a good amount, because you have to kill this guy or poison him, which is going to take a decent dosage.
I guess Stranger. This is the question I have to ask. Is Stranger aware that something is going to happen that he does not know yet? Because his instinct would be, well, maybe if things go bad with Captain Cassidy or Captain Cassidy's people, we poison them with some of the dose to verify.
What I will say is that you're going into this a little. What would I want to say? You're sort of trailblazing here. You're creating something that hasn't necessarily existed before, a very specific poison. So you're saying at it as a scientist, thinking like, well, I think this is going to do what I intend, but I think there might be something else. Like, I don't know 100% if there's not going to be something else that'll also go along with this concoction. So I guess the answer to that is yes. You do know that there is something. You just don't necessarily know that that's a consequence to a botch.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I think a Stranger's immediate instinct would be probably not to test this on anything, because he doesn't, have like a readily available
Stranger
thing.
takes a big gulp.
What? Oh, yeah, that's true.
Slurp.
Let's just test it on the chain pervert. He'll love it.
I can't even really probably use the animal people around here because they're, not the animal people, the plant animals, because they're not made of meat. He doesn't know what's going to happen to them. It's a different scenario entirely.
Please.
Yeah, you can't drop that on a fucking polar bear and then see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stranger will just keep this in his back pocket for now, and will, I guess, prepare to deal with the giant when it comes. He will turn to Buck and say, though, I thank you for your assistance here. Tell me, do you have any, I guess, capabilities in self-defense? This will be probably a hairy encounter. If there's any other way you might be able to assist in defending this island, it would be appreciated.
I mean, yeah, I could definitely hold my own. I mean, I'm not like a armored rhinoceros or anything like that. Like, if someone punches me, I'm pretty squishy, but I do emit toxic gas at all times, which makes me pretty useful. Also, I know little tricks. I have a couple little spells up my sleeve, but it's usually hard for me to like make it happen on account of the poison gas. So, I mean, put me in, coach, but also don't put me near anybody or they'll die.
That's a question. Because what Buck is describing is the fact that, yeah, it's hard for him to really help because he's toxic to everyone. Could... You know how Rasputin took a little bit of poison, just a little bit, to get really good at drinking cyanide so people couldn't kill him?
Uh-huh.
What if I cut in just a little bit of Popo poison into the Wonder Drug?
A little
Like
buck
trying
poison?
to immunize people against his toxins?
Yeah, a little buck poison, so they might be like, oh, they'll just think it's, the after, like, I've got a bad hangover, but what I'm doing is actually getting them prepared to be around a killer mushroom.
Taking a little bit of poison every day for 30 years is exactly the same as spiking a party drug. You got it, Dan.
Well, it's a fantasy world, I rolled a 22. Fuck you, Yorski.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, you're gonna make people sick in the process to a certain extent. I mean, anytime you do something like that, it's probably gonna harsh the vibes of the Wonder Drug a little bit. If you're like, oh, I'm dying and living a whole life and then coming back. Oh, also, I kind of want to vomit the whole time.
I mean, I'd probably want to vomit if I experienced my own life and death in the span of a couple hours, but that's fair. I'll leave it out for now. I don't think this will actually have a mechanical benefit if I did this, so.
You need to get high under better circumstances.
So no poisoned Wonder Drug, but we've got Wonder Drug and we got poison.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm actually going to make a little note about this right now.
If we can't work the stuff out with Cassidy, then we throw a big party. Everyone gets completely, life and death and rebirth blasted. And that's when we start the violence.
That's something we could do, offer this drug to them as an olive branch. And then while they're blasted out of their minds, can round them up and lock them up. Or we poison the drug we give them.
I can't believe you'd kill a man with the fucking last rites Wonder Drug.
There was a conversation before this episode where I had to ask, because Dan was kind of at the idea of like, what if we just started killing off all of the members of Cassidy's militia? And I was like, shit, do I have to prepare the next arc to be like 13 Dead End Drive, where you just find wacky ways to kill off members of this group?
Someone reset the counter for Dice Funk reenacts a war crime.
All right, what is Miss Killings doing in all of this?
I will say before we switch to Miss Killings, I don't know if it's going to come up on the audio for when I was talking. My cat was desperately meowing at me to throw her little ball that entire conversation.
I didn't hear it, but that's good to know for flavor.
Did you throw the ball?
I just did right now. Tootsie's very happy. She's also pretty pro war crime.
Yeah, that sounds about right for a cat.
Miss Killings is going to go find Parks the robot, who I think is the NPC we've talked to the longest time ago, if memory serves.
It's been a little bit, yeah. You could find Parks operating sort of the concierge desk at the gig.
Okay, Miss Killings approaches and says, Camerlengo Killings, is my room cleaned?
Oh, yes, of course, Miss Killings. I'm sorry, what was it, Camerlingo?
Yes, it's my... I assume you've upgraded me to the executive suite because of my new job title and position.
Oh, and I have to think about this. I haven't heard much of Camerlingo. Could you explain it to me?
I could, but I think we'd be wasting both of our times.
Okay, that's fair. Well, your room has been restored to its usual conditions. Unfortunately, there aren't really executive suites. We've been more concerned with making sure there's space for everybody than ensuring that there are fancier rooms. Although if there are any accommodations you need, I would be happy to pass those along, of course.
As long as no one's unionizing, that's the important thing.
That was an
If there was
auspicious comment.
If there was a union forming here, I would be so mad.
All the hair in the back of her neck standing up.
You see Parks tearing up a piece of paper that was like, "Tell Miss Killings about the ghosts."
No, she says, so I've been keeping a low profile for a while here. Did that rhyme? I've been keeping a low profile for a while. I apologize. I didn't mean to rhyme. Hi, Elias.
You do it all the time. It's fine.
All right. Well, I thought this was going to be a pleasant conversation, but if you've chosen hostility, warforged. Sorry, I'm going to dial that back. It's not appropriate. Hylia has announced my position, so I can more freely operate now, and I want to touch base with you. You seem to be in charge of intake. In fact, rather than me guess, why don't you inform me of all your responsibilities?
Yes, well, of course, I am sort of the, I guess, main go-to here on the gig. I handle checking people in, ensuring the queue is being kept to. I had a previous responsibility of holding all the body parts, although that got to be quite a bit much, and it seems as though fair Lilian will be building the vault to take care of that duty. I also help to oversee job tasks that are being done amongst the staff, and also bartend, cook, and clean myself. I do whatever I can. I am an all-purpose assistance to this location.
You say you have these responsibilities. How did that happen? Were you programmed with these responsibilities? Who entrusted them to you?
I suppose I was commanded to have them by my creator.
Please don't make me ask who your creator is. You know that's the next part of the sentence.
Okay, well, I mean, the details aren't that important. It's just this was a powerful wizard who created me. I was their assistant. They came here to do a vibe check on somebody. They were, in fact, the first vibe check. And after that was done, they were so pleased with the results, they asked that I stay here to build a community so that anyone else who came here would be allowed to have a safe respite in the meantime.
Okay, so the artificer / wizard who created you left with the person who was vibe checked? Those two people are gone and no longer relevant?
Yes, they have gone back to their way of the world. I was sort of a thank you gift from them to ensure that this island had some level of logistics to see itself forward. It's a bit of a no man's land before I was given the task to start seeing things through, and then eventually Hylia came along and we helped starting putting together the gig itself, and well, the rest, as they say, is history.
Do you have free will?
Of course, I could say no at any time if I want, but that wasn't how I was raised. I'm not a barbarian.
Well, okay, well, some interesting choices there in the words. I've heard about the racism module. I would be careful with the B word.
Oh, has that been...
Was I not supposed to say that? I do sometimes learn that some of my lingo is outdated.
I'm not in charge of HR, but if I was, we'd need to have another conversation about barbarian.
Oh, well, allow me to strike that from the record and say that I was raised to be the utmost of gentlemen. I have gentleman protocols all up in this bitch.
Wonderful. Okay, so the timeline is a mysterious wizard whose name isn't relevant arrives, discovers the tree, and Mox, who is a druid, is the first person to run a vibe check. The wizard and the revived person leave. You and Mox here. Then Boyce the architect and Hylia, the large person, build the gig. That's where we are.
Yes, there's been a bit of change. People have come and gone from their time here at the gig, but I was one of the first.
Okay, do you have any ambitions beyond your station as concierge, bartender, and history lesson on the history of slurs?
Well, I don't know if I want to say that the last one is something I am proficient in. I'm, programmed to know a lot of languages. I don't think slurs is one of them.
I'm sorry, there was a slip up in an early episode and it just stains your character reputation forever. It's an audio medium. We only have what you say.
I thought that the word queer could mean, like, strange folk. I didn't realize it had taken on a different term. And that is why we exclusively serve the wine that makes you gay now. I want to show I am an ally.
That's nice. Back to the question. Do you have any other ambitions? Do you want to be, head of the Praetorian Guard? Can you defend yourself? Do you want to be a cleric, or are you just fine doing the thing you're doing?
Well, I suppose I take a lot of pride in what I do. I like to assist people, and I like to help create a system of order and sort of logistics to this operation. It isn't easy. There are a lot of fly-by-your-seat stopgap sort of rules and operations put into place, but I try to do my best by this community, and I like to consider myself an honored part of that. So as long as these old rusty gears still turn, I think that is where I would like to put my efforts. As for protecting myself, I am quite old, so I don't particularly love to get into a scrap, but I do know some old maneuvers, from back in the day that could help me, and he gets in, like, that fighting Irish position. Like, he has, like, the dukes out real far in front of him.
All right.
I like to think he throws a couple, like test jabs, and then just quick draws a gun and fires it into a wall.
I do have this Gatling gun attachment. I suppose maybe I could equip that every so often.
Okay, how canon is that? I can't tell what's jokes. Parks?
No, it was, of course, a joke there. Carmelingo killings. I like to make a little quips every now and again. No, if I had had a cool attachment like that, I would have used it by now.
Yeah, at his age, his Gatling gun shooting blanks.
All right. Killing says, so I think the nature of your position is evolving a little bit. As you said, Lilian seems to be taking over body parts stuff, and Stranger is going to be in charge of at least security temporarily. He might leave at some point. Right now, I am trying to organize a defense not only against the Storm Giant White, but also against the dastardly Captain Commodore Commander Cassidy, and we have to figure out who can fight and who can't. So if you could kindly separate these icons here, maybe we switch Hylia and Ace Attorney's Aaron Andrews.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Hylia's dead.
Yeah, she's extremely dead. And I think we're moving all the people who can fight into one camp and who can't into another camp. I guess Killings doesn't know at this point that, first of all, lol, you wrote rip on Hylia. We don't know that Pofo is like the master of ghosts now, but I think does that put him into the can fight camp?
I will say that Pofo in and of himself is just a normal person who wants to be like a grief counselor. There are potentially powers he would obtain when possessed by a ghost, but that that is something to be determined, I guess, a little further in, as we find out exactly what the ghosts are going to contribute to the fight. If you want it to be that they possess Pofo and there's one less person who sort of needs to be protected, then that could be the thing. I think that's a question to kind of have Lilian decide what she wants the ghost's purpose during this fight to be.
I'm imagining now the end of Return of the King, but instead of Aragorn just stepping off that ship with a pirate ghost army, there's a long sequence of him negotiating with the Union. And he's like, all right, well, you can have time and a half, but I'm going to need you all really to fucking put the work in.
What if all the ghosts just try to possess White at once? Like, really just fucking overload
I
him?
was just thinking, what if the ghosts tried to possess Dwight?
It's an option on the table. I just want to note that what you have the ghosts do, they can't do multiple things. I mean, you could split them up, but everything gets worse at that point. So if you want it to be that they can empower Pofo and make it so that's another individual that's off the, like, very fragile and easily killed list, then that's fair. But if not, that's another position that's basically currently, for the audience, by the way, the list has been separated this way, that Cassidy, Mox, Buck, Harvest, and Needles can sort of protect themselves, whereas Dumas, Parks, Harper, and Pofo can't.
One thing I was thinking about with the ghost army is that they could, like, act as, like, a ghostly, like, AoE effect almost like a force of nature more than, like, a specific person. Like haunt White's ass and, like, cause, like, some kind of, like stat reduction, like distract him, something. It is not clear in my mind, but that was the idea on in my head that I wanted to put on the table.
Sure, and we can get into more of the specifics then, or later. I think right now, Parks separates the two groups, and he places himself in the side that doesn't that can't really protect themselves so much, that they're, considered non-combatants with Dumas, Harper, and Pofo, and then shows you the other five, the sort of characters on this island are on the other side.
Okay, yeah. In-character Killings will see that and say, thank you. Is there any other intelligence or data you could provide at this time in the capacity of protecting the island either from White or Cassidy?
Well, perhaps I am overstepping my station a little bit here, but I think that protecting the island from Cassidy might be a little harsh of a stance to take.
Oh my god, he got to you?
No one has gotten to me. I've just seen that it does feel, and we all miss and love Hyalea, that she intentionally led him astray, perhaps for righteous reasons, but he has become very frustrated by the fact that he was lied to. And I believe he has gone to seek answers for himself. I think that he does seem to be a noble sort, and perhaps if there is going to be a direct confrontation that someone must stand in front of this giant as it fights, the commander would be an excellent option for that.
Cassidy is lucky that Hyalea didn't behead him when he got off the boat. I think the only reason Hyalea let him get as far as he did is because he's a fan of her books. He should count his fucking stars.
Oh my god, Tootsie. Tootsie has opinions on this man, too. She's into him. He's based, he's red-pilled. He would definitely throw a ball for her.
Well, I can understand that you both have sort of a history together that might be coloring your perception. I'd simply ask that you consider the larger benefits of the island should Commander Cassidy be an ally as opposed to an enemy. At some point, you will have to make that call, and you can either strengthen the forces you have now or risk potentially endangering our chances by not only killing him, but running the risk of suffering losses ourselves.
One time, President Slater offered him a promotion, and he turned it down just because he would have had to move to a different school district and uproot his family, and his kids would have lost all their friends. You can't trust a man like that. He's capable of anything.
Oh my god.
Yes, sounds like quite dastardly villain, but you know what they say. Misery makes strange bedfellows. I don't really know quotes exactly. That module has been lost to time, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
I mean, I hear you. I disagree vehemently, but ultimately it's not up to me. I'm just here to carry out the will of Hylia until she gets back. Speaking of which, well, go ahead.
What would Hylia say of this? Do you think Hylia would want this individual on your side?
I think Hylia is prone to flattery, and I think Commander Cassidy's appreciation for the Sprouting Scholars series would blind her. I'm not a sycophant where Hylia is concerned. I see all her flaws very quickly, very clearly, and I think she could be. I think she could be sucked up to in a way that would let the Minotaur keep his head.
Well, I suppose the decision is ultimately yours to make, but I hope you make the right decision. I have the utmost faith in you, Carmelengo Killing.
You shouldn't just broadcast your weakness like that. You're just putting your faith in me? You don't know what I'm capable of. You've let your guard down, old man. Now I'm inside your mind. Yeah.
If you're in there, can you tell me where I left my wallet this morning?
Maybe what's in it for me?
What's inside the wallet, I guess. It's
Hell yeah,
nonsense.
deal.
All right, there you go. There's no economy here, so...
We need to get the ghosts to exclusively prank Killings because she needs to get taken down a peg.
2 bolts and a washer in your wallet. I'm not going to be able to do much with this, but
you weren't supposed to see that. I used to, in my younger days, I kept those around in case, I met a nice lady robot, but
Oh, it raises a lot of questions I'm not prepared to hear the answers to.
Hold on, let me turn off my dick screws on bolt.
Oh no, this is very bad. So I could explain what a Camerlengo does. It's mostly running the finances of this place and the property and so forth. But my immediate concern is that we don't appear to have trespassing laws. The fucking creepy Cassidy just walked up on our tree and no one stopped him. So right now Needles and Mox I think are our Praetorian Guard. We need to figure out some protocols there. I'm very frustrated by how this seems kind of like a kindergarten more than a church.
Yes, well, I suppose this place hasn't been run as much more than a community of people of sorts. Having it turned into a religious organization would require restructuring and, ordinance and laws. Something that not everybody is a huge fan of.
It's a summer camp, but the lake is made out of a giant diamond, and everyone just doesn't seem to realize how dangerous that is.
I do believe that having more structure would be very important and necessary for this island. It can help. I don't know about the religious stuff. That seems like it's perhaps being forced upon everyone, but, I am of the sort that believes rules make society better.
I feel like everyone has a bunch of preconceived notions about what religion means. To me, it just means we can bring back the dead, which is historically the domain of clerics, just de facto a religious subject. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Heaven and hell were blown up with bombs thousands of years ago. Who gives a shit about all that? But I have to remain completely neutral as per Hylia's orders on the subject of her resurrection and reign. But I'm allowed to take the temperature of other community members. How are you feeling about Hylia, her leadership, her possible resurrection? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Well, I do miss Hylia, and I would hope for a return. She is someone I would consider a friend, one of the individuals I've known here on the island the longest, so of course I think she should return. I don't know if all of her policies are best, but who am I to say? I am a servant here to continue keeping this operation running.
I mean, you are to say because you're part of the people who can exert social pressure on the vibe checkers who are going to decide whether she comes back. So that, in a sense, you have some say in this process. But I appreciate the feedback. How are you feeling about the title? I'm getting the focus groups are not loving Doge Hylia. I've got a list of other possible titles. I'm going to try to field test these real quick. How are you feeling about Praetor? Praetor, Praetor Hylia.
It sounds like something from a city card game.
No, it's from ancient Rome.
No, I'm pretty sure it's from a card game.
It really isn't. Thousands of years before the invention of that.
I disagree. I think it's from a city.
It's literally where the word Praetorian comes from in Praetorian Guard.
I know.
Miss Killings absolutely plays card games, and she's fucking awful to play against. I guarantee it.
She literally like wiped everyone's fucking like floor card games like in the last downtime. She is too powerful.
She plays nothing but stacks decks.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say mass land destruction.
That's a part of stacks.
Okay, yeah, it's absolutely no fun at all. But yeah, she's also a killer blackjack player, as we saw during the downtime. But yeah, you don't actually have to answer any character if Parks likes that. I'm just gonna have every episode she asks a different title to different characters.
To Praetorian, they'll say, well, I guess it would make sense why there's a Praetorian guard, but wouldn't the Praetorian guard be exclusively protecting the Praetor?
Actually, I'm so glad you asked. So the Praetorian Guard has a really interesting history as to a political force unto themselves. And she just goes off in this.
I was gonna say the scene has to end there before this conversation happens. Yeah. So you all have succeeded at your different tasks. You not conjure. You corral. No, I don't know the word I'm going for, but
convene.
You gather around. Convene. There you go. You all succeeded at your tasks, so you convene eventually back at the banyan tree, and the next time you do, there are no guards there, and there is no one inside of the tree. You are free to do your vibe check, assuming you have picked who you have decided to vibe check first.
Well, now I want to go talk to fucking Cassidy. I don't want them to just get away. I know this recording's been 6.5 hours long.
Yes. I'm trying to wrap things up recording-wise. You will have your chance to talk to Cassidy, I promise you.
Okay. I guess if we're just approaching the tree, then fucking Killings will ask the other two. So how were your days? Didn't start any unions, I hope.
I've created the ultimate drug and also a poison that will make you shit your guts out. I don't remember which bottle is which.
Fucking awesome. Hylia would have loved that.
I told
Just
Harper.
take both.
I told Harper to build a pine cone, and then I started a union.
You son of a bitch. I never should have trusted you. In other news, how are you feeling about Praetor Hylia? Well, can I get the temperatures, thumbs up, thumbs down from either of you?
Praetor sounds like a drug you use for your allergies.
That's not a no.
I'm not for it. I'm thinking maybe something like Sweet Baby. Is that an option?
Well, don't get ahead of me. I have a whole list here.
So, to the party, which individual have you decided to vibe check first?
I think we had already previously agreed by democracy to go with General Reso, but then Lilian cut a deal specifically to do that. So, I mean, that seems doubly confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, just all in, General Reso, let's go. I'm sure that this person, surely someone who's fought in various wars, is a veteran, they surely have a noble heart and will make bringing them back when the time eventually comes a very easy decision.
Well, this is an important question. Is Lilian telling us that that Fair has made this deal?
I think that Lilian will be frank with the both of them, just like, So the ghosts, the dead people of the gig, have certain conditions that they want me to meet for them to be of help in the coming fight, and one of them is the guaranteed resurrection of General Reso. If we vibe check this person and they turn out to be qualified for coming back, then all's good. If they aren't qualified, if we have a disagreement about that, either something drastic will have to happen in vis-a-vis like how we decide this, or we might just lose the ghosts entirely.
I have explicit orders from Praetor Hylia to be honest about the vibe checks, so I cannot tilt the scales in favor of the general. But you two are under no such obligation, so if this guy turns out to be an asshole, I'll say no, you two can say yes, and we can take our ghost army.
Stranger drags his hand down his face at this revelation and goes, "Oh, now you're going to be honest and play fair? Great, wonderful, love it."
It's called my instructions. If the Praetor had said that I have to deceive and lie and kill, I would be doing that instead. So take it up with her.
I believe you've already planned to do most of those things today.
I'm a complicated woman.
You've actively plotted it in front of us for Cassidy, which, like, I understand you have beef with him, but like that's a
He's
whole
a
nother...
beef. He's literally a beef. Lilian, look at him.
Oh, I see Parks's old habits are rubbing off on you. That's not okay.
We need bovine intervention on this motherfucker.
Stranger will just say to Lilian as he like pulls off his hat and like rubs his pumpkin head and goes, Did you at least ask why they want this general back?
I think it's not a character. Didn't the ghost say that it was his general and he wants him back? So
yes,
it was, like, personal?
It was. I assume somebody who served under this general asking to bring him back, like either for reasons similar to like Killings and Cassidy wanting Slater back, or out of some sort of respect.
Don't you dare compare us.
I mean, you're pretty similar here in this scenario.
I'm sorry, but that is an apt comparison.
I had never took a single birthday off.
That's on you.
She thought that was devastating. She's like, that motherfucker always takes his birthday off. How?
I'm literally taking my birthday off work next week.
Killings would not respect you, Sarah.
Damn. I do want to note General Ratio She-They.
All right.
I thought you said General Ratio, and I was like, hilarious name for a character.
If there was a wrestler with the name Ratio, I'd consider it.
Like, Lilian is actively being upfront with the party that there are agreements tied to this person's, like, eventual vibe check. I know they're paused right now, but, like, that's what's on the table. Like, if we, like, just can't bring this person back no matter what, Ghost Army is gone.
Well, maybe... at the end of the day, we can't bring anyone back until White is dead or indisposed of, so at the very least we can lie up till that point if need be.
If that's like our last resort. But I am hoping that someone as decorated as a general would hopefully have some kind of, like, good vibes that we could pick apart from this, like, as well as getting, like, whatever, like, weapon or item that we're trying to get from them too.
Stranger gives Lilian a look when they say, a general decorated, there's sure to be a good person. Like, oh, you sweet summer child.
Yeah, the real
Literally.
question is, what if we all agreed to bring back Stranger's ribcage body, and then the ghosts were like, no, bring back this other guy. We'd have a completely different fight right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I am intentionally playing Lilian as a little bit like, yeah, like, people who like, fought for, like, a good cause, like a general, like, that's sure to have some good vibes. Faye is very naive.
Ooh, I'm putting that in the last time opening. So yeah, it'll really hit when the war crimes start.
Yes.
So the body part that you all were given for General Raso is like a clawed, severed hand, like a dragon's claw almost, with copper scales on it that you were able to place upon the altar. The tree accepts this. You were able to step in, and you get lifted into the air in your new established pose. Everything fades to darkness, and when you come to, the cannibals are surrounding you.
Yes!
The cannibals!